today we are going to be talking all about the new Barbie and Beauty Creations collection. I just happened to be scrolling on Instagram several weeks ago and I saw this and I was like, I have to get it. So I did end up getting the collection box, which was I think $95 from Beauty Creations. I will have links to everything below. And you guys, I have to say the PR box, gift box, whatever they call this, full collection box, they did not disappoint. It is so cute. And here is the box. It is so cute. I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely one of those things where I was like, I just have to have this purely based on like packaging wise. You guys know I'm a huge Barbie fan. I love Barbie and I thought this was so cute and I thought it would be such a really cute like collectory display kind of packaging, so I was so into it. And when you open it up, this is what it looks like on the inside with all of the products in there, so I just thought this was so cute. I definitely had to try it out. Now this was a little bit of an impulse purchase for me. I just pretty much saw it, was like, oh my god, what is this? How much is it? Here's my credit card, let's go. And I didn't even really like truly look at like the full collection, so I thought initially that everything from the collection would be included in the set. But there's actually quite a few products that are not included in the set that are either an exclusive to a bundle or other little sets. There are a couple items you can buy individually that are not included, but there are a few that you actually cannot get just on their own, which is a little bit frustrating in my opinion. I feel like if you're buying like the full gift set, like everything should be there, or at least have the ability to buy everything individually, because there were a couple things like a lip oil here or an eyeshadow here that you actually could not get just on its own, which was a little frustrating. But I will share with you guys all of the products in this set today, let you know what I think about them, what I'd recommend, what I wouldn't recommend, and my overall thoughts on all of these products. So let's go ahead and get into it. So starting off with the first product here, this is called the Malibu Way Hydrating Face Mist, and this one retails for $12. Have to say, packaging wise, I love this. It's so simple, but it's so Barbie and it makes me so happy. So let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm not quite sure if this is supposed to be like a prepping priming spray or like a setting spray. So I think I might just like do it both. It doesn't say specifically whether to use before or after makeup. All it says is shake well before use, hold it 10 to 12 inches away from the face and spray in a circular motion for even distribution on skin. So I think I'm gonna try it out as a priming mist and a setting mist and we'll kind of see what we think. All right, now this does look to be more of like an aerosol type of spray. Now I've never actually used one of those as like a setting spray or mist spray before, so I'm actually quite intrigued to see what this is gonna be like. All right, here we go. Ooh, it's quite fine, extremely fine. Ooh, that feels so nice to the skin. I actually quite like that. It does have like a very slight scent to it, but it kind of reminds me more of like a really fresh, clean, like maybe a cucumber type of scent. Very subtle though, but very nice, and it does feel quite nice on the skin. I have never used a setting spray like so fine, but I imagine it to be similar to like what the One Size spray feels like, or like an Evian mist type of spray. That's what I imagine this to be like. All right, so far so good. I feel like this would be so refreshing in the summertime, so far I'm liking this. I think it has a really nice smell and good potential. All right, so I'm gonna go put on my foundation and concealer and we will come back with the next product. So overall, I actually quite like this as a pre-setting spray and a post-setting spray. I think it worked quite well for both of them, and it is definitely super refreshing. I feel like it's so like nice and relaxing to spritz this on your face. And if you've never tried an aerosol makeup spray, I feel like this is actually a game changer. I've always just used like the regular like spritz ones, and there's just no comparison as far as like how fine the mist is. There's truly just no comparison between the two, so I kind of feel like this has kind of spoiled me a little bit. This one I definitely think for me personally is a product I wouldn't have chosen on my own, but now that I have tried this, I am so impressed with it. I really like this, you guys. I really like this. I think this is awesome, and I think for the size of this product, for the price, I feel like that's really reasonable in my opinion. I haven't like compared like size and prices across the board, but just overall like 12 bucks. Do I feel like I'm getting a good amount of product in here? I kind of feel like I am. So this was really kind of like a little bit of a sleeper cell product for me. I was not expecting to like this one as much as I do, but I am thoroughly impressed with this one and I definitely want to keep using it. So next up we have the Future is Bright Loose Setting Powder. This one retails for $10, and this one is a light pink tinted setting powder. So let's go ahead and apply. And it does appear that there are like some teeny tiny like micro shimmers in here. I don't know how well that'll show up like on the skin, but applied like just kind of roughly to my hand, it doesn't really give much of like a sparkle effect, which is good because I'm not necessarily wanting to be shimmery under the eyes, especially since I typically use this type of product as just like an under eye concealer setting powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in and we're gonna try this one out. So here is what the packaging looks like up close. I do like that it has the little lid that you can swivel over the holes to keep the product from spilling out. So I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of this on one of my Flower Nose finger puffs. So I picked up some of the product here. It is a very light pink kind of color. And I'm just gonna start by applying that right under my eye where I applied my concealer. And I'm also gonna do a little bit on my eyelid as well, because I do tend to put some concealer on my eyelids to blank out the veins. So I do want to set that as well. So I'm just going to do one side of my under eyes first so we can kind of see like a real like side-by-side comparison. Ooh, I definitely think that like really smoothed out the under eye quite nicely. And I think you might be able to see like it did definitely give a little bit of like a lightening kind of brightening effect. Like I can definitely see this side looks a little bit like brighter and lighter and lifted, so kind of like that so far. Like I said, I'm not really perceiving any type of like shimmer, so that is good for me. I think this is actually a really good like kind of color tone for me too. Okay, what do we think? I mean, I think that worked really nicely for my under eyes. I feel like it brightened it, it lifted the area, it made it just look a little bit less dull, and I think that this is actually a really good color option for me. It is ever so slightly pink, so it's not like one of those super bubblegummy pinks. I have tried some pink powders in the past that I just feel like are a little too pink, and this one I just feel like is the perfect tone for me. So if you are like a pink tone girly and you want like a matte powder to really brighten your under eyes, I feel like this is really, really good. I feel like I could also get away with using this all over my face, but especially like under eyes, I really like this so far for my very first time using it. And it feels very light under my eyes. Like I can't really feel much of a powder. Like it doesn't leave like a cakey kind of like layer under my eyes. It just feels like really nice and smooth. Okay, I think I'm sold on this one. So this product I actually quite like as well. I really truly do believe it gave me a really brightening and lifted kind of look. I think it worked quite nicely for my skin tone. I can totally see myself using this more on the regular, and of course I love the packaging of it. It's so cute. I do find it's just a little bit bulky, so it might not be something that I would like travel with, but I do quite like this product and I expected to like it, so I feel like my expectations were definitely met on this product. And I do feel like you get a lot of product in here for $10, so once again, I am pretty impressed with this one. Next up, we have a face palette product. This one is called the Born to Lead Cheek Trio, and this one retails for $14. So in this one, you actually get 3 different products in here. There is a cream blush at the top, there is a powder blush in the middle here, and then there is a highlighter at the bottom. So let's go ahead and apply. I do want to start off first with the actual cream blush here. So first off, I do want to like swatch a little bit of this just to kind of see like what I'm getting into. So there is a little bit of that. It's very thin and very creamy. And then let's see, it's definitely a little bit more of like a sheer type of cream blush, like especially as I blend it in, you can see through it. It is a bit of a transparent kind of cream formula, but it definitely looks like if you over blend it, it will be a very subtle blush. So I imagine it to be more of a, like a buildable, blendable type of formula. And then this is the powder blush here. I'm gonna kind of do that next to it. So definitely a little bit more pigmented there. And once again, you can kind of like really sheer it out if you don't want a super intense pink, but I do actually think these colors will work nicely together. And then for the highlighter, that one is a super sparkly highlighter, so let's go ahead. Oh my gosh, this is like the eyeshadows. We'll get to the eyeshadows, but this is like an eyeshadow level of like shimmer and sparkle, so that one might be a little intense. I think I might have to definitely apply that with a light hand, because there is definitely perceivable like micro shimmer sparkles in here. So it's not like a sheen or a glow, like there's actual like sparkle particles in there. So now that I know what I'm kind of getting myself into, let's go ahead and try it out. So I'm going to start by picking up the cream blush here with my favorite kabuki brush. So I'm going to start by stamping that up into my cheekbones and bringing that up towards the temple. That's definitely definitely noticeable on my skin tone. I don't know how it's coming off on camera, but there's definitely some pink color there. It's a very soft, slightly warm tone pinky color. I actually think that gave off a lot of color on its own. So without and with. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some on this side as well. I find it's very easy to blend. It's not overly pigmented where I feel like I'm, you know, have to be very, very careful at blending. I feel like you can just kind of stipple it around and it's looking quite nice. Let's see if I can build it up a little bit more. Oh yeah, I think that looks quite nice. I like how this looks. I would totally wear this on its own. But I do want to try the little powder blush as well, so I'm going to pick that up on a different brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit and kind of tap it off because it does seem a little bit powdery. And I'm just going to kind of lightly sweep that over the blush that I've already applied. I don't want to go too crazy with it, but I also think it kind of helps to set the blush as well. I think that is a very cute, flattering kind of color on me. I kind of like this a lot. Okay, so far I am liking that. Now we're gonna do the highlighter. Like I said, I think this is gonna be a little bit intense, so I'm gonna kind of pick this up very gingerly, and I'm going to apply this with this brush. I'm just gonna do like a really soft kind of sweeping motion on the top of my cheekbones. I'm gonna do a little bit of like a buffing motion because I don't really want it just sitting on top of my skin. I kind of want to like blend it in and really kind of like work it into the skin so it doesn't just look like shimmer on top of my cheekbone. All right, I think that actually kind of looks okay for that first layer. I'm gonna zoom you guys in a little bit more so hopefully you can kind of see what this is looking like on my skin. All right, so here's with one light layer of the highlighter on. I'm gonna build it up just a little bit more. I think you can really kind of see now those like micro shimmers. So this is definitely one that I think is going to be noticeable on your skin. Like it's not going to be like, oh, has she been drinking a lot of water lately, or is she wearing makeup? Like this one I think is pretty obvious. It's like, yeah, she's wearing makeup. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it does appear to me to be more of like a noticeable type of highlighter. So here is without and here is with. I think if you really apply it lightly and really work it into the skin, you can make it a little bit more natural as a shimmer highlighter can get. So I think you can kind of see like there. It's definitely there. But I think the more that you kind of like really work it into the skin, you can make it look a little bit more subtle if that's the look you're going for. But if you're looking for like an imperceivable type of highlighter, I don't think that this is the one, but it is quite pretty nonetheless. And that's how the face powders are looking on me so far. I actually kind of like it. Even though the highlighter is not my typical favorite type of formula, I can definitely still make it work, and I do think it looks quite nice. It's just not going to give you like that natural glow from within type of look, so as long as you're okay with that, I think that this is a pretty good option. Another product I was really impressed with. I thought that this one looks quite nice. I love how the colors look on my cheeks. I do have to say I don't think the highlighter is quite my favorite formula because I do kind of like a little bit more of a natural, subtle looking type of highlighter, but overall I do think it is quite pretty. Just depends on if you have a lot of products like this already, but I do think it's pretty convenient and I thought this was another good one. Next up we have the eyeshadow palette. This is called the Hello World palette, and this one retails for $16, so let's go ahead and apply. All right, and then on the inside this is what it looks like. I love that there is a huge mirror in here, so points for that. Very cute. It's got Barbie Beauty Creations on the top there, and then this is what the palette looks like. Now I do have to say, as far as like color wise, like just looking at the colors, I do think it's a very pretty palette. It's a very like wearable palette, something I color-wise would get a lot of use out of it. But when I look at it and I think, okay, does this like give me Barbie vibes? Not necessarily. I kind of feel like we'd need a little bit more pink. Like we do have two pink colors here, but they're very soft, subtle. So I mean, I think like from a wearability standpoint, I really think it's a nice palette, but does it scream Barbie to me? Not necessarily. Kind of feel like I want like a pop of blue in here or something, but I mean, we have seen a ton of Barbie palettes before that do kind of have those more poppy kind of colors, so I definitely think they went for a more wearable type of color story here. And of course, we do have a couple more products for the eyes that I will be showing as well that kind of brings a little bit more of the Barbie spirit into it. So here is another look at the palette, a little bit more close up. So a lot of like taupes and champagnes and a little bit of pinks, a little bit of like a soft gold. So overall, just a very more wearable, kind of neutral, but still glam palette in my opinion. So I'm going to start off the look. I am going to focus a little bit more on the matte shadows because I do have the other two eye products I want to kind of work in as well. So unfortunately, I'm not going to go too much on these shimmers, but they do look very pretty. And one thing I know that Beauty Creations does really well are their shimmers. So starting off, I'm actually going to go for a little bit of a darker color here. I'm going to start with this one, which is called Purpose. It is just a medium warm matte brown. I usually start with like the lighter colors and build those up in the crease, but I want to kind of work with like dark to light this time. So I am going to pick up just a little bit of that shadow onto a fluffy blending brush. I'm going to start applying that to the crease, kind of really defining that area. So far it's definitely really pigmented and it is blending out quite nicely. It's not like just sticking right where I put it, just like doing little soft circular kind of blending motions, and it is blending out quite well. Now, I don't want to go super heavy dark with this one, so I am going to kind of over blend this one a little bit, but you can see like how light of a look I got with that dark shadow. So I do like that it is, like it said, a more blendable type of formula. But of course, if I do pick up a little bit of it like that on my finger, you can see how dark and intense that is. And if I apply that like straight from my finger, you can see it's definitely really showing up there on the lid. So I'm just going to kind of blend that out a bit. So just to blend it further, I am going to take this next brown here. This one is a little bit lighter than the last one, and that one is called Bold. And once again, I'm going to focus that more towards the upper portion of that edge where I blended it upwards. So this is just going to give a little bit more of a softer gradiated kind of look. And then taking a little bit of this lighter, kind of like a multi-tan color here. This one is called Authentic. And I'm going to take that on my brush and I'm going to apply this at the highest point of my brow, right under the arch, and just kind of lightly feather it over those edges just to kind of clean that up a little bit. I find these types of matte light colors for me are a good type of like almost eraser type of product. So if you blended like a dark color just a little bit too high, I find this gives you a little bit of a softening kind of effect, and I quite like having types of colors like this in a palette. You can kind of just go over the edges of everything just for a more soft kind of blended look. Switching to a pencil brush, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that dark brown, the Purpose color, the first color I used. I'm going to run that on the lower outer portion of my lash line just to give a little bit of definition there. I'm going to slightly blend that upward onto the upper lid where we applied it to the crease. Now I am going to pop back over to this palette in just a little bit, but I do want to show you guys some of these shimmers because I'm not going to like heavily feature these colors, but I mean they are gorgeous and I think that they're so pretty and they need to be seen. So here are a few of them swatched on my fingers. Like, aren't those gorgeous? Let me just do some quick little finger swatches here. So those are some of those colors there. Like, can you see how like foily and reflective they are? They are so, so pretty. So I definitely want to give those colors their flowers because they are absolutely so pretty. And I can see myself using this kind of color story like on the everyday. So I really, really like those, but I do want to hop over to these two products as well. So these are like the special edition colors of their Writing Solo eyeshadow line. I do have quite a few of those and I love them. So these are like the Barbie specific ones. So we have this pink one here. This one is called Playdate, which is this gorgeous shimmery metallic pink color. So I definitely wanted to kind of let these shine through. And then there's also this really pretty like icy blue reflect kind of color. This one is called Malibu Sunset. I think it's an interesting color name for it being a blue, but let's go ahead and try this one out. So I am going to apply just a little bit of a sticky primer just to the center of my lid. This is what I do with all of my shadows. I have hooded lids. I talk about this all the time, but in case you don't know, this is one of my favorite tricks to keep shimmer shadows from migrating as much, especially if you have hooded lids. And I do it with all my shadows, so it's just kind of like my standard operation. So I'm gonna take this pink one first. This one is called Playdate, and before I do, I did want to mention how much I love the packaging of this. Number one, I think it's really cool with like the clear packaging, and I like that it's magnetic, but I also love that you can stack these together. So if you take the lids off of them, you can stack them together, and I think that's so great, and then just put like a little top on it. All right, now I find that these types of shadows always apply best with my finger, so I am going to pick that up. It's so like creamy, like look at that color. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply that right to where I applied that sticky primer and really press it into the skin. Oh my gosh, look at that color. That is so, so pretty. There's just something about using your finger that, in my opinion, with almost any shimmer across the board, just makes it that much more like impressive. There's just something that like brushes can't do, and one of them is like get that kind of effect from a shimmer. That is so pretty. I love how that looks. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye. I hate to kind of ruin like the little Barbie impression, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, look how pretty that is. That is how the color Playdate looks. And I do want to work in a little bit of the Malibu Sunset color. Now, since I'm going to apply this to more of like the lower lash line, I will use a brush for this one. But just know that these types of eyeshadows will always apply a little bit lighter, a little bit sheer with a brush. But I find that I'm not very good at like applying that on my lower lash line with my fingers. So I do like to use a brush for a little bit more of a precise application. So I'm going to do that more towards the inner portion of my lower lash line. Just do a little bit of that blue color there. I feel like it's really pretty how it kind of catches the light. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I think you can definitely see how it does give a lot more of like a more subtle type of effect when you apply it with the brush. But it is still very, very pretty. And then let me do like some quick little isolated swatches of these two colors so you can just kind of really see them at like full force. All right, so those are the two colors. They're so pretty. I really love how those look. You can really kind of see that true blue kind of like reflex to there. I think that's such a pretty color. And I could only imagine like what this would look like over a black base. I love doing that with these types of like turquoisey blue reflect kind of colors. And then I do want to hop back over to the palette really quickly. And I do want to take one of the lighter shimmer colors. I think I'm going to take this one here, which is called Shine Bright. And I'm going to pick up just a little bit of that on the same shadow brush because I kind of want to use this as more of like an inner corner highlight type color right in here just to bring a little bit more light to that area. I don't know what it is, but I feel like my makeup's never complete until I do like a little inner corner highlight, and do just a little bit right there. Once again, this is like one of those spots that I cannot like get my finger into easily, so I do like to use a brush for those areas. All right, and that is how the eyeshadow looks. Overall, I love the really like bright, glowy, shimmery kind of look. So I am very impressed so far with the eyeshadow palette, just from like the mattes that I used, and then of course the shimmers that I swatched. I feel like they look beautiful, and I am a really big fan of Beauty Creations products. And of course, I love these as well. I think that these are awesome. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup, and we're gonna come back with the last few products. Alright, so here is the look with the lashes, liner, mascara, everything all on. So now I'm going to move on to the last few products. We have like 3 lip products and a body product. So the first lip product is actually kind of like a 2-for-1 type of product. So this one you actually get a lip jelly and you get a keychain, but not only is it a keychain, it is actually a lip product holder. So you can actually put this right into the keychain. And it's like a little holder for your lip products, which I think is very cute. And you can get this for $8 together. So I think that is super cute, and I always love like a cute little keychain type of moment. So this one is, like I said, a lip jelly, and this one is called Sunny and Stylish. I'm not quite sure what this is going to be like, so let's go ahead and try it out. The first thing is it looks like a jelly, like kind of lip product. It kind of looks like, I don't know if it's actually like jelly texture. Seems more like a solid clear product, so I don't know what this is going to be like. I'm going to do a quick little, ooh, oh my god. Color-wise, that is so intense. I was not expecting that at all. That is crazy. Like, can you see that? That is like super pigmented. I was not expecting that, but it does have that like clear jelly kind of consistency. Like, it's transparent, and it's a little bit more of like a purpley pink tone rather than like the super bright red that I was expecting. I wonder if this is gonna stain. Oh yeah, I definitely think that this could have some staining possibilities to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this on. I think I'm gonna zoom you guys in so you can kind of see what this does. Okay, I have no clue what this is gonna be like, but this is what the product looks like up close. So I don't want to roll it up too much because it does look like it could be a little bit on like the more fragile side, but this is kind of interesting. All right, so let's go ahead. I don't have anything on my lips, just a little bit of like leftover foundation, so. Oh my gosh. Okay, pigmentation wise, this is kind of crazy. Texture wise, this is kind of crazy too. I feel like on camera this is coming off a little bit more of like a warm tone red, but I definitely think in person it looks a little bit more of like a purpley pink kind of color, like a little bit more of like a fuchsia kind of color. So I feel like the color is not coming quite true on camera. I actually kind of like how it looks on camera. I do think it looks a little intense in person though. Okay, and this is what it looks like kind of like at a distance, like full picture kind of vibes. So I have to say the name Lip Jelly is an interesting name for this product because I feel like it fits it so well in some ways and then some ways it doesn't. So texture wise, it does not feel like a jelly at all. It is like a clear stick kind of product. So it's not like gooey or jelly or anything like that, but I am so amazed by the pigmentation of this because I really thought it was going to be more of like a lip balm kind of texture, but like it almost gives me vibes of like a lip stain in a stick. It's definitely a little bit more on the sticky side, and I do have to say the first time applying this one, I do feel like it kind of skipped on the lips a little bit. Like it was kind of like, you know, it didn't just glide on super easily, but I mean, color wise, I think this is so pretty. I feel like this is a really like nice summer kind of color if you're into like a more bold kind of like popsicle lip is kind of really what it gives me. Other than like the slight kind of like tackiness to the lips, it doesn't really feel very like there's much on my lips. Other than that, I kind of feel like I could probably like blot it off and it would just kind of feel like my lips. It's not overly glossy at all. I have never quite used a product quite like this texture. I do want to do a little bit of like a kiss test to see like how much transfer we get, but it really truly does, like the best way I can describe this product is like a stick lip stain is what it feels like to me, but it's just so different. All right, let's go ahead and do the lip transfer test. Okay, so we definitely get a bit of transfer, but I feel like that definitely did kind of like remove some of that like sticky tacky kind of feeling. So I would definitely kind of like blot it off if you are going to wear this, but I feel like color wise this is so pretty. This is such a Barbie color. So overall I am pretty thoroughly impressed with this. Like it was just totally not what I was expecting the product to be like. I thought it was just going to be like a tinted lip balm pretty much, but I mean this is full on like Barbie lip stain kind of color. I think that this is a really unique product. I do think though that the first time I applied it, it did kind of drag along the lips just a little bit, and I don't know if that's just kind of like working it for the first time. I definitely think it's okay. I actually think it's a little bit smoother now that I have used it a couple times. I think that like just that very first like swipe, it did kind of skip a little bit, but oh my gosh, this is like so pigmented, really pretty. I feel like this would work on so many skin tones and I think it would be such a pretty color. So I really did not have very high hopes for this product at all, and I'm really like seriously surprised by this one. Now I kind of wish I would have like used that product like after these two, because the next two products I have are like lip oils. Now technically these are two different ones. There is the pH lip oil and then just the shimmer lip oil. Now these are the two that came in the set, but there's also like a third and maybe a fourth color that were not included in the set, which I didn't realize. But now I feel like you're not going to be able to like really see what these do. So I'm just going to kind of do like little swatches of these real quick and probably do a little bit on my lips. So the first one I have here is the color Unstoppable, the pH lip oil. I don't know if this is like a color changing one or not, but it does just appear to be like a pink tinted lip oil. So let's see. I love that it has the really large doe foot applicator on here. And then when I swatch that one, it does have just a little bit of like a pink tint to it. Ooh, and it smells like watermelon. That smells really good. It kind of smells like a really like fresh, like true watermelon, not like an artificial watermelon. And then the other one, this one is like a pinky shimmer with like a little bit of like a corally gold kind of reflex to it. And this one is the shimmer lip oil. I'm not a huge fan of shimmer lip oils. Ooh, and this one's more like a strawberry scent. That one smells really good. They are quite pretty though, but once again, this one doesn't really have a whole lot of color. It's just slightly tinted pink, but it does have a lot of shimmer to it. I am gonna kind of wipe this color off just a little bit. Now it is going to stain my lips a bit, so you're not going to be able to see like the true like color that these give. Unfortunately, I did not foresee that this was going to be such a pigmented lip product, but it's so pretty. Truly though, even with like wiping it off, you can still see it definitely left a bit of color there. So I'm going to do just a quick little swipe of the Unstoppable color. Now I do think there was another clear color, and I think that one was called I Can and I Will, which I thought was really, really cute, but I think that one is just kind of like a clear one. And I'm surprised that that one wasn't included in the set, because I thought that everything was going to be in the box set, but I will definitely have to let you guys know that there's a lot of products that actually weren't included that I didn't even realize. So let's just go ahead and apply this. Very comfortable on the lips. I do have to say it does feel like a pretty standard lip oil. It is good though, but if you have a lot of lip oils, I feel like there's not really anything truly that special about this one unless you're just like a huge Barbie fan. The watermelon scent though is really nice and I do like that. And I do think it looks quite nice layered over like the kind of tint that the lip jelly gave. Does feel super comfortable. I love the lip applicator on here. I just feel like it depends on whether you have a lot of lip oils that you already like. So this is definitely one that I think if you're a fan of Barbie and you don't have a lot of lip oils, I think this is a good option. But would I necessarily like seek this out? Probably not, just because I do find it's like nothing that spectacular, but I do think it's quite nice, quite comfortable on the lips as well. But I will kind of wipe this one off and we will do the shimmery one too, just for fun. Once again, this one is the color Dreamer. And let's see what this one looks like. Again, it's gonna be a little bit more of like a sheer kind of clear color. Strawberry is really good too. And again, same feelings with these. If you like a little bit of shimmer, I think that you'll like these, but I don't think this is something that like, if I was thinking, okay, what are the products I have to buy? These for me aren't as high up as far as like all the other products go. And I did forget to mention, I do believe that these are $5 a piece. And the last product that came in the set is the body oil. This is called Gotta Glow Body Oil. It's such a pretty shimmery pink color. This one I believe is $10. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest like shimmer body oil kind of person, but I mean like with summer coming up, I feel like it's very Barbie, so I totally understand why they made this. First things first, I actually like that there's this little stopper here at the top to keep it from like spilling. That is actually genius, and I wish every other body oil included that in their packaging. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see this or not, but this is what the body oil looks like. It does have like little micro shimmers. You can definitely see it in person, but it's not like crazy intense or like super chunky. I just don't find myself putting on a body oil very often at all, but I mean, if that's what you're into, I think it's like quite cute, nice and moisturizing too, especially with like having like any dry skin. Ooh, it does have a scent to it and it's really nice. I can't quite pinpoint what the scent is, but I like it. Okay, I'm trying my best to like figure out what the scent is. Okay, now when I say this, I don't want to lose you guys, so just keep listening. So the first thing it smells like to me is a little bit of like baby powder, but hang on you guys, but it doesn't really truly smell like a baby powder. Like that's like the starting point of it, but it does smell a little bit more like perfumey, a little more like sophisticated. But it does kind of have that little bit of like a powdery base to it, but it smells quite nice. I truly just don't know what this smells like though. Let me see if I can like look up what it smells like. Okay, unfortunately, it does not say on the listing anything about the scent, but it definitely does have a scent. It's a little bit more of like a powdery scent, but it's quite good. I like it. It's definitely a nice kind of scent. Like it's not quite like a coconutty kind of scent. It's definitely not, but like I truly don't know, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm at a loss for words for this one, but it does smell nice. I do think it's a good smell, but it does have like that powdery kind of base to it. So overall for me, I do think that for me personally, this isn't quite a product that I would necessarily use that often, but I do think it's very, very cute and I love how Barbie it is. I just think for me personally, if I was looking at these items and like individually purchasing them, this is definitely one that I think I would not have purchased, just knowing myself and things that I like to use. I definitely think it's skip on this one, but I think it's very cute and I do appreciate that. Finally, I do just want to do one more pass of this spray. I think it was very, very nice. So now let's do it for the setting portion of my makeup. Oh, that feels so nice. I love that. I think that this is a really, really good product that I wouldn't necessarily have maybe purchased if I was purchasing all of these items, but now that I've tried it, I'm actually quite sold on that. I could just imagine like being out like in the summertime and then like spritzing my face with this and just being like, it's kind of like when you walk by like one of those like little water misters out in public and it just feels so nice on a hot day. I feel like this just gives me like a really refreshed feeling to my skin, and I've just been sitting here in front of my filming lights for the last like hour. I think for me personally, the only products that I would have skipped on them, knowing what I know now, and if I was buying things individually, would have been the body oils and the lip oils, just because I have a lot of lip oils and I do think they're quite nice, but I just have so many of them. And then body oil is just one of those things I'm not that particularly keen to use that often. Other than that, I thought all of the products were really great and things that I would actually use. So overall, I thought this was a really well designed collection. I thought it was very, very cute. And even though I didn't get every item, there are definitely a few that I kind of have my eye on that I might potentially get in the future. All right, guys, so that is everything for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. You guys can follow me on social media. Links are below. And until my next video, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.